Sit down, please. Sorry, you are late. Jai Ram.
Hari Om Swami.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om Swami. Pranam Swami.
Hari Om,
Pranam Swami.
Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram.
At exactly at about 3:25, three students from a college in Mangalore, very young, St. Aloysius College. They were here, that is why we got delayed. Why we are making a mention about them is how God has touched and kindled in them the purpose to know something about spirituality, something about materialism, something about the happy blending of both spirituality and materialism. No, people will be under the impression that school-going or college-going children, especially when they live in cities, they are living in a dreamy land, not trying to connect themselves with the workaday life or common run of life. But here we found they are also in a city amidst of so many diversions and attractions. But they found time. They had come here before, no doubt. So they are planning to come under all and spend a day or two in ashram. And what really touched us was they also want to do some seva apart from knowing something. We suggested to them, during your proposed stay, if you feel it all right, you pick out anything, that is before you. Pick anything. Whether it is a door or a safety pin, or a laptop, or a table, or a chair, or salt, or water, and try to understand what does it teach us. You try in your own way. And when you become successful, you will find it, you will not be seeing it merely as an object. Previously, when this initiative was undertaken by a group of devotees, they brought out so many things. One we remember now, somewhere somebody else. The door, immediate, freedom. You are inside the room. Gives you freedom. And somewhere somebody has written, salt, universal love. And need not be absolutely right, but something has struck to them. Because without salt, 90% of the people, they don't, at least they need salt. Sodium is needed in your body. Like that, so many umbrella, interconnectedness, broomstick, something of unity, team spirit, not one. So many things are tied together and it becomes useful. It may be not an important thing for us, but now when we look at it, we find so many untold lessons are being revealed. And we see that, in them when we were talking, we also did not impose. We said this is what we feel, and it will be interesting for you and it will be interesting for us. So whatever findings you come out, don't worry about the rights and wrongs. Whatever that strikes you, any object when you ponder deeply, it has got a lesson to tell us. And that will make us to know that the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. This is Papa's quotation. So instead of telling that, we told them what they should do, and they evince interest. They may be here on 22nd or 24th. We may not be here. Doesn't matter. They were all. We were very happy, They were prepared to come 100. We told them no. It should be split in 2 or 3. Otherwise, it will not be possible for you to organize, and it will be a problem for them here also. 25 to 30 or 40 people, okay. You can stay for a night here. Somebody will brief you about ashram and everything, and then me to be, that is the important one. That is the message ashram gives. From the self-centeredness to selflessness. Why? Not because somebody said I should be able to. I should be convinced. So when I know that I depend upon everything outside for my very existence and for my comfortable living, naturally I will start thinking about me to be. So that is why we got delayed. And finally we told them we have got a session, so you come later. Acha, now in yesterday's reading, somebody had sent a message, probably yesterday when we were, if a person practicing sadhana happens to commit something of a sinful nature, that sin should be burned by the power of spiritual communion and not by the accepted code of penances. First and foremost thing is, we are very happy or very glad that even when we were reading something very important, salient, it gets touched in the minds of one person or two persons. And when they point out, God how arranges, just think. Everybody may not be able to express it in so on, but they may also be having similar doubts. They may not be very clear about it. But through one, God touches and kindles this question to have more clarity. And the result is, everybody is getting that clarity. So we will again read, if a person practicing sadhana, spiritual practice, happens to commit something of a sinful nature, that sin should be burned by the power of spiritual communion and not by the accepted code of penances. Normally we have penance, those who are on this line, certain do's and don'ts. And when we do this, suppose unknowingly, unwittingly, suppose we say something which is not true, and we find out that it has been instrumental in creating lot of problem for our. Suddenly we give a punishment in the form of, I will not talk for 2 days. I will not eat. I will miss my breakfast or lunch, something like that. There will be some self-denial, which is called penance. But this sin cannot be burned down by that. Because again, I am there. I have committed a sin and I am trying to undo or repair it. No. That will be three only when we take him into task. Why did you make me to forget about you? That is why, You made me to do something which again rebounds on me and feel bad. So I plead, I appeal, I cry, please do not give me such prompting hereafter. This will come from the bottom of the heart only when we know two things. One is that particular act is detrimental to the interest of others. Another thing is, it has stemmed from me and mine. If I was thinking about the welfare of everybody, if that is writ large on my mind, if it weighs more, I may not do. So this me to me is the basic cause. And this me to me, suppose I punish something, again the me to me continues to exist. Again tomorrow, so the penance will not help me, but my submission, my feeling of subserviency towards him, that will wash away the sin is not a thing, outside. It cannot be objectified. Sin is something, when we commit something, it rebounds back on us. You say something, you have wounded somebody, it will keep on coming back to you, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. It may not come at that particular time, after some time. So we will try to go deep into what exactly sin is. And for that, we go to the spiritual preceptors. They will give us the needed clarification. So the ultimate, when I commune with him and hand over the responsibility, onus on him, you made me to forget you, You made me to think from the me to me level. And then now you make me to feel it was not correct. Why are you doing this? Please remove this energy. Let me not forget you. Let no such thing happens. This is how it strikes to us. It can strike to anybody in a different way. The moment this question came, when we reread the whole thing, this is how we drawing from our own experience, we immediately go to that person concerned and seek his apology. There are many, many instances like this. When we bring in that idea, that means when I am contracted to me and mine, I am likely to commit all these things. Papa used to say, when you forget God, you commit mistakes. When you remember God, there won't be any mistake. Because it is God who does it. And God is perfect. But when you come down to the level of individual, it is influenced by your preferences, your rights and wrongs, your likes and dislikes, in total disregard to the other people. How do they? You don't bother. But when we remember him and do that, it won't happen. Oh, these are all some of the things which welled up when this question was raised. The fall is for one who is high up. The lesson to be learned from this non-rigid nature of dharma and adharma is that people should come to realize the impermanent nature of the external world, slowly try to retire from the pursuit of material desires and fix their minds on the supreme reality. To the extent that one is able to do this, to that extent one will be free. If a person practicing sadhana happens to commit something of a sinful nature, that sin should be burned by the power of spiritual communion and not by the accepted code of penances. So we go directly to the boss and place our matter before him. Spiritual communion means that we directly go to the boss. Everything is happening only, you made me to become aware that everything is happening only by your will. But now and then you withdraw from that, you make me unaware of your presence, and you somehow make the sense of individuality to take decisions in total disregard to the fact that you are there behind. So from the individual level, the decision is, or the thinking is done. You are facilitated for that also. And now you make me feel that what I said or what I did or what I thought was not good. Why are you making me to do that? One incident in Papa's life that comes to her, which is detailed in the Vision of God. When on his tour, itinerary yatra, in some Annakshetra he was taken. Normally he doesn't go. Some other sadhu told him that you can have food, chit. So he got a chit. They have got limited, every day they will have so many, 25 or 50 or something like that. So that they will give, and those people will be coming with the chit, and they will be allowed to go in, and food will be served. When the Papa was given, after some time, the quota was over. Papa was about to enter the building. One person came and said, for the past 2 years, 2 days, I have not had any food. So, will you kindly request him to do that? So, Papa took up his case with the manager. The manager said, you mind your own business. There is a fixed norm that is going on here. So, with a heavy heart, Papa went inside. But when he was sitting before the food plate, he started feeling the guilt. He couldn't take food at all. And then, by the time the man has gone also, and he started crying. He himself, why lamentation? That is the oh, you don't have the, huh? You have got the Vision of God? You got here? You got here that book? Why lamentation? Somewhere, no? Lamentation. No, for 59. Passing through the street, they came to a noted Annakshetra where Ramdas had occasion to dine during his last visit to Pandharpur. The kshetra used to feed with rich meals 6 sadhus every day. When they reached the place, Ramdas found 7 sadhus waiting at the entrance of the kshetra. The manager of the house was to select 6 out of the waiting sadhus. Ramdas felt an inclination to leave the place as he did not wish to stand in competition with others in the matter of selection. He had done so on a former occasion at another kshetra of the city. But there was Ramcharan Das who would, of course, refuse to take meals without him. So, however, he stayed. At the usual time, the manager turned up with the notebook to take down the names of the sadhus he would select for dinner. He picked out 6 sadhus, including Ramdas and Ramcharan Das. Rest of the sadhus departed, except one who appealed to the manager to take him also. The manager told him that he could not do so, as the rule was only for feeding 6. He also added that he had his chance only the previous day. Ramdas made out that the attraction for the sadhu was the luxurious food served in this particular kshetra. When the sadhu saw that he pleaded in vain, he requested Ramdas to speak to him. Ramdas, with folded hands, prayed to the manager, Ramji, do take him also. In a feeding house, an extra man can be accommodated. With a sharp words, the manager cut short his advocacy. Mind your own business. The lucky 6 were asked to enter the house. Lucky question mark. Ramdas walked in along with others, dazed and depressed. The extra sadhu was left behind. Meals were served for 6. The thought of the sadhu outside troubled him. The meal progressed. He could hardly eat anything. It was a dinner of sweet balls and cakes. After finishing the meal, he came out, and what did he behold? The extra sadhu was still sitting on the doorstep. At the sight of him, Ramdas felt as though an ice-cold water was suddenly poured over him. His hair stood on end, and deep aching was felt at the heart, as if from a stab. Calling Ramcharan Das quickly to his side, Ramdas asked him if he had any eatables with him. Yes, I have about half a seer of fried gram, tied up in. At once hand over the gram and also any money you possess. He was given the gram and also a few annas, but Ramdas's heartache did not heal. God willed that Ramdas should leave this place immediately. He walked away from the spot at a running pace. Ramcharan Das at his heels. His heart shook with an uncontrollable emotion. Tears began to flow down his cheeks in a regular stream. He wept and wept like a child. Ramcharan Das looked at him with a questioning glance. Ramdas ran on until he reached the railway lines. Here he slowed down, but the weeping continued. In his intense grief, he gave vent to the following words. Communion, no? O Lord, why did thou make him to do this? Why did thou prompt him to eat a meal in the kshetra while a hungry man was going without one outside? Thou didst direct to him to do a most ignoble and cruel thing. Then the rising tears overwhelmed him. He cried, O Lord, why did thou not advise him in time either to surrender his turn in favor of thee? Did not advise him in Ramdas. He never uses the word first person. Why? Thou did not advise Ramdas in time either to surrender his turn in favor of the next extra sadhu, or at least later on to hand over the served leaf to the sadhu and to move away from the place. Thou art, O Lord, his sole guide in all matters. Now what hast thou made of him? An utterly selfish fellow. That is what you have made him. How cruel of him to have behaved like this. And he wept and wept. So he is not seeing from his angle. Because of the spiritual practices he was doing it, he was able to immediately commune with him. And the last one is also right. We can read. Ramcharan Das said, Swamiji, your grief is quite unreasonable, judging from your attainment and your attitude towards life. You have been all along hammering into me the truth that everything happens by God's will and He means always well. So the way in which He made you act in this case cannot but be for good. Then why this lamentation? You are perfectly right, Ram. Ramdas answered. God does everything for the best. It was He alone who induced him to act as he did. Again, it is He who is making him feel, forfeit, and complain and cry as he does. Not merely the first one, the second one is also. So that is why here it is mentioned, it cannot be done by penances. It can be done only through spiritual power. If a person practicing sadhana happens to commit something of a sinful nature, that sin should be burned by the power of spiritual communion and not by the accepted code of penances. Anything else? All are in a higher stage, so no word is coming out.
சுவாமிஜி, பப்பா வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்டேஜ்லயும் வந்து ஓ லார்டுன்னு ப்ளீட் பண்றாரு. அதே மாதிரி தான் பாபாவும் சாய்பாபாவும் அல்லா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு மேலே பார்ப்பாரு. யாராவது வந்து எது கேட்டாலும் அப்போ எல்லா மகான்களும் வந்து நம்மளுக்கு காமிச்சு கொடுக்கறது என்னன்னா நம்ம தெய்வமா அவங்கள நம்ம வந்து வழிபடுறோம். ஆனா அவங்க நம்மளுக்கு காமிச்சு கொடுக்கறது லாஸ்ட் இந்த பாடி விடுற வரைக்கும் நம்மளுக்கும் மேல அந்த ஒரு சக்தி தான் எல்லாரையும் நம்மள வந்து நடத்தின்னு இருக்குன்றத காமிச்சு கொடுக்கறதுக்கு அவங்க அந்த ஹையர் ஸ்டேஜ்லயும் நான் ஏதோ சரி பண்றேன் அப்படின்னு அந்த மாதிரி பண்றது இல்லை. அது வந்து அமேசிங்கா இருக்கு. நினைக்கும் போதும் அப்ப நம்ம லாஸ்ட் இந்த பாடி விடுற வரைக்கும் நம்ம இந்த ஸ்ட்ரகிள் இருந்துட்டே இருக்கணும். அதுக்கு பகவானோட அருளும்.
ஆமாம், பாடியாக இருக்கிற இடத்தோட இந்த ஸ்ட்ரகிள் வந்துட்டே இருக்கு. பட் அந்த டைமில் எல்லாம் நாட் த்ரூ அட்வைஸ் but through their experience, to their own experience, they said connect yourself with God. Even a complaint, that's the beautiful word he has said. Complain and complain and cry. It is he who is making him feel contrition for it, the feeling guilt of it, and complain and cry as he does. Ramdas was now walking recklessly in the loose gravel. I cannot walk, left on the Ram, don't you see that a short station, a railway station? Go up to it, board any train running towards Kurdwadi. Ramdas goes on his way alone. So even then, he often burst into tears at the thought of the dinner. The grief dulled his brain. He found solace only when he withdrew within himself and entered into the silent depth of his being. During the night, he stopped in the rest house of a small wayside. One of the villagers offered him some eatables, which he did not accept. He was not in a mood to eat anything. In this manner, he roamed on for 2 days without food from village to village. He did not care for food, nor would he touch any when it was placed before him. He was now feeling a sort of searedness. His feet were swollen. So like that, the penance was there, but first and foremost thing is he took God into task. It's a great lesson. This question is very important. Though we are all trying our level best to understand and live up to what has been understood by us, still there may be omissions and commissions. Unknowingly, unwittingly we may do. So at that time, the Lord through Uddhava and directs us to get in time, to feel the connection with Him. The very fact that you're feeling bad is because the lack of connection. So immediately we have to connect ourselves, which is called communion. It's a great lesson for all of us. Anything else? Yes.
So I am having a doubt. So let's say I have this urge to smoke.
I have an urge to smoke.
So according to this method, or what I have understood, is that one that I am connected with the spiritual community, I would consider that something inside me is making me to do it.
Something make me to?
To do this, that smoke.
Smoking.
So instead of having that regret by the other method of doing the penance, I am getting free from that sin.
Yes.
So how will I come out of this path which I dwell by this method?
You can have that communion with Him. You made me aware through through advertisement, through people, that smoking is injurious to one's health. And also we came to know that it is not only injurious to my health, I will also be polluting the environment in a subtle way. So when you have made me know this, why have you given me this urge, or the, what do you call it? So why don't you please remove it from him? You keep on talking to him. And if it is unbearable, you will go out and smoke and come back. But you will not, you will try to abstain from doing it. Because the more you are taking him into the picture, it depends upon how intensely you feel to free yourself from these clutches. You can come here and sit. See, seat is there, or here or here. When on a lighter vein, in Bombay, when Swami Chinmayanandaji started this Sandipini Sadhanalaya, we were told about this incident. It was originally a 6-year course. After that they can go back to the family, or if they can dedicate their life for this purpose, that is also okay. That was his original sankalpa in 60s. So one of the devotee who had enrolled themselves as a member for the 6-year course, he had this smoking habit. So it was difficult for him to control. Finally they said, they will be honest. So with one more friend, they went to Swamiji and told him what to do. He immediately said, don't worry, whenever you want to smoke, you come and tell me, I will get it for you. It was a wonderful way of doing it. We will not go and ask a Swami, I want to smoke, Finally he stopped. The craving got stopped. He did not condemn, because over years, suppose there is a habit, naturally the body will demand. So you rationalize, and then plead with him. You are there in the form of life force, I have understood. If you are not there, I don't exist at all. So whatever thoughts, whatever cravings you give me, it must be for some purpose. I can understand this. But this is too much for me now. I am in a spiritual institution where I should not do this. But you give me the craving, so what do I do? Please remove it from me. Proportionate to the extent your intensity is there, we are telling you because so many such people. One person came.
I don't smoke, I was just giving it.
It's all right. We don't smoke, it's all right. When one person came, he was an alcoholic. And he spoiled his whole life, family life. One day evening, after the satsang, when we were going, he came and he said, "Can I stay here?" So as he came near, I could feel that he had taken alcohol. So I told him, "Do you think the ashram is the place where you can go, having had your drink?" So he looked at me and he said, "You are also asking me to go out. Did I ask you to go out?" "No." "Okay, then promise me that you will not go out of this ashram without telling me, whatever may be your temptation. And don't tell this to anybody. I will ask them to give some room somewhere. Do you have a bag?" "No." "You don't have anything." So we gave him dhoti, shirt, everything, paste, soap. Told him, "Go there, go to the room. If you feel like joining any of the program, you join. Otherwise, you keep quiet. You just sit and see the Mother Nature. And tomorrow evening, you meet me. But mind you, nobody will monitor you. Because I am not going to utter a word to anybody. But before you go out of the compound, you will tell me." So he went there, he was given a room, all those things were given. Next day evening he came. He said, "I did not go out." 10 days he was here. I said, "You pray to him, pray to him." That also we told him, we pray to him. You made me realize that this is doing harm not only to me but also to the entire friends and families. But at the same time, the craving is so intense that I fall a prey to it. This is not right. What can I do? I am still at the craving level. Unless you step in and intervene and relieve me, I will not be able to get out of it. And he did it exactly. And after 2 days, he told me about his entire story. And then, God, glory of the God. That's right. That day, he was about to commit suicide. Then he was passing through the rails where he wanted to lie down when the train comes. Because his family separated from him. The professional career got highly damaged. And at the same time, he wants to drink. And he has no money also. So then he thought there is no use of living. At that time, some friend asked him, "What are you going to do here?" Then he said, "No purpose of living. You do one thing. You go to the nearest spiritual center, Anandashram. Spend a day there and then do whatever you like." Then he told me, "That is why I came. If you had asked me to go out on that day," that's why I asked, "You are also asked me to go out." Because that was the final one. When you did not ask me to go out, then I started thinking. And now I know that the power is within me. God is giving me the power to restrain this. So when we think about God, when we intensely pray to Him, mysteriously the problem is solved.
Excellent,
Mysterious. His family is, everybody, they were all in Mangalore. The family left him and went to Vattapalam, and he made me to talk to his wife. And then my wife said, "Oh, at least he has come to the ashram now." I said, "No, he wants to see you." "We don't want to see him." "No, you see him, please. That is one way of pulling him out of this. He need not stay with you for some time. But don't deny him to see you and your children." And finally she agreed. And I told him, "You go there, don't talk about anything. Just see them, give whatever you feel like, and then go back to your company and tell him, I am free from this, and join." And he left. After 10 or 15 days, he left. So just like Lord says to Uddhava, it is burned by the power of spiritual communion. Only by spiritual communion. Because we plead, we appeal, we place ourselves entirely and seek His intervention. Immediate intervention. Not intervention, immediate intervention. And when it comes from the bottom of the heart, it is answered.
Here the another question.
Yes?
So,
Good.
I asked the similar question in the morning. So even though I am aware that I am doing a sinful act, still I don't have the power to stop it. In that case, like what
Prayer.
message?
Prayer, intense prayer. And you can also impose certain self-punishment. Because that will only remind you, When we go to the bazaar, we have to pay, Then only the article can be bought. Similarly, we have to pay the price. So along with our prayer, to remind you about the prayer, to give intensity to your prayer, you do deny something for you. That will remind you why you have denied. In fact, that is the purpose of self-denial. Self-denial is not for self-denial. Self-denial makes you aware of the noble ideal which you want to pursue and where there are hindrances, either by habits or by, something. Nobody need know about it. But you will impose certain restrictions. An intense prayer. Some self-denial, when it is, in Papa's case we saw, he denied food for him. So not merely this, that also he did. But if he had satisfied with merely denying, he would not have been able to. But when he cried, when he knew, Acha, this is an experience God is making him to go through. God made him to forget about it. God made him to go inside alone, leaving him. And God made him to feel bad about it. And God made him to cry and pray. That to have that experience, this was necessary, that he was able to understand. But again, at the individual level, he couldn't console himself, so he denied. So in such cases, wherever I feel that it is not within, the senses are not within my control, either I should geographically change immediately, There are three, 4 ways, when the craving comes, whatever it may be. We go to the wash basin and pour cold water on our face. Or in some cases, we take a cold water bath. Or in some cases, we go for running. Or we come out and see the nature. Somehow the train of thought should be cut. Otherwise, I will be in its grip. Immediately I should get out and do it. Do something by which, otherwise the craving will hold us, The craving, when I am about likely to lose it, if I do something like that with a prayer, not without prayer, with a deep prayer, then we will mysteriously feel that we have been saved. When Gandhiji, for Gandhiji, whenever any spiritual question comes, he used to seek from Vinobaji. So one day one mother came to him with his boy and told Gandhiji that this boy, is always eating sweet, yes. He is over fond of sweets. However much I tell him, he doesn't understand. Gandhiji said, you come after 10 days. Mother went and then came after 10 days. Then Gandhiji said, how it can be got over? You place it and see, you will not take, You also see that too much of this, when it goes to the body, what happens? All those rationalization, everything, he was detailing. But Vinobaji asked him, you could have said it on the first day. Then Gandhiji said, I was also an addict of the fruit, sweets. So before I tell somebody, I should know how to handle it. So he experimented all these on himself. And when he could stand free from it, then he said, I am fit enough to convey this to the son, to the boy. So that was also another learning for us. We rationalize the whole thing. And then plead before him to somehow step in and intervene and save him. Anything else?
Swamiji, let's say that you say an unkind word to someone and unconsciously or unconsciously you hurt his or her feelings, and you realize that you've hurt that person's feelings, that you said an unkind thing, and so you do the spiritual communion and you burn with the fire because you feel bad about it. But the next step would be to go to that person and apologize. And how would you go about apologizing? What would you say to the other person to right the wrong you did, or to rectify it?
Sometimes we tell something which we are not supposed to tell somebody. Again, we feel bad. Then we go and apologize that person consciously. Then what else? Next?
So how would you approach that person?
As far as possible, we should apologize openly. If we think we are not prompted from within to do that, we mentally bring him before us and touch his feet and seek apology, so that from your mind it is erased. But the telling effect will be to go and apologize, if possible, or write a letter or telephone to him. I didn't mean, it was a slip of tongue. Or because of some other notion, I said that. I shouldn't have said that. And that will square off everything. Many instances come before our mind when this has happened. But in those cases, it was direct. Though the person was far away, the moment the other person came to know that one of his behavior unknowingly had caused disturbance in the other mind, he took the vehicle, went there and said unconditionally, please accept my apologies. Immediately the other man forgot about everything. He came and hugged him. I was a witness to it. And not a word about whatever he had lamented before. And when we came out and I asked the other man, why you did not make a mention anything about this? He said, human relation is more important than our rights and wrongs. Human relationship is much more important than our rights and wrongs. If our rights and wrongs were instrumental in wounding anybody, no matter what the mind says, you are right, forget about it. Human relationship is important. So if this is there, because God is making us to getting ourselves connected to as many individuals as possible. Papa says, love begets love, kindness begets kindness. It is an inexhaustible source, love. Not that when it is distributed to 10, it becomes low, no. It becomes 100-fold more. So there will be a test by God, by making us to forget about it, come down to the individual level, assert our rights and wrongs, and in that process we somehow, not that we wanted to wound, but he gets wounded. Later on he makes us to realize that it could have been avoided. So the best way would be to give a call, write a letter. I didn't mean anything bad, but it was a slip. Forget about it, please. Or to go personally and then only say a few words about the incident, no postmortem. If you do the postmortem, the mind will again stick on to the rights. You are accepting that he got wounded. It has to be repaired, that's all. There is no prefix or suffix. If we allow the mind and intellect to dwell, you are, according to you, you are 100% right. But then, God who puts you on test, whether human relationship is important or like he also can have his own rights and wrongs. Oh. You can gently and lovingly point out, no doubt. I don't think you are right. That is you are not right. No, there are two ways of telling. If your intention is to make him know the other side of it, you can lovingly put forward. Somehow we forgot that, though we did not mean anything bad. And it has come out. In that case, open apology would be wonderful. If that is not possible, for reasons beyond our control, either geographically away, or at that particular time again he may get into some argument and it will go on. So you will just mentally bring him into your fold. Honestly, in Indian system, we touch their feet and mentally apologize, so that your mind is clean. When you see him next, you will not carry over.
What about forgiveness?
Eh?
Forgiveness. Let's say
Forgiveness.
forgiveness. Let's say you're the object, not the aggressor, but someone hurts your feelings and they come up or they don't come up. And now you're walking around wounded.
Correct. Forgiveness, that why we did not bring that word, subtly it may feel we are on a higher platform and we are forgiving him. It is not so. Honestly, we feel, it should not have. I could have put it in a different way. Because my intention is not to wound him, but at the same time to make him know that that is not right. This will not come from any university, it will come only from experience.
So do you say, oh Ram, you purposely wounded me? Or whatever. For some reason?
For some reasons I don't know. You made me to do that. But you shouldn't, you can say you shouldn't have done it.
You should have done it?
We can question him, in any language. He has given us 100% power of attorney and freedom to tell him in any way we want. How can you make me to do that? Papa asked that question, no? How can you make me to do that? Forgetting for a moment that it is done with a purpose, no? So the life of a spiritual aspirant, though outwardly, for outward purposes, we can say it is full of trials, tests, challenges, everything. But if we get rooted more and more in him, it becomes an enjoyable journey. Initially, we may not see it as enjoyable. Experience will teach us. He will make us to become upset, and then finally we realize what is the final outcome. Mataji used to say in simple words, if you are wounding somebody, you are wounding Papa. Will you wound Papa? Nobody will wound. So that means you are not seeing him there. But in the vyavahar, in the worldly things, you may have to say something, You can say, put it lovingly. Your intention is not to wound him. God has made you to say that this is right or this is wrong. That you are conveying to him, equally respecting that he has also got an intellect to say rights and wrongs. But when you say that, probably it might touch and kindle. When we were going for the morning walks with Puja Swamiji, Sachidanandaji, some construction will be going on somewhere. Somebody will come and say, this can be done like this can be modified like this, something. So we used to get irritated. So when we were alone, I was telling Swamiji, if so many people start commenting about we don't go ahead with the work, it becomes a non-starter. Swamiji immediately turned and said, what harm is there in hearing? He has been prompted to suggest. And God gives you the opportunity and the discretion to say yes or no. But you cannot say nobody should say anything. And if there is anything worthwhile, amend it, modify it. It was a big lesson for us. What harm is there if we suppose suggest something? There may be something for us. God wills that we should do some rethinking, that's all. You can go ahead with your own plan, but it doesn't mean that everybody should keep quiet. This accommodating tendency, it has got its telling effect. Immediately we don't jump and say, how can you say that? Why should you say that? It's all right. We hear. That's why we said this can't be learned from university, only through experience. Because this is a wonderful university. Every day the great teacher is teaching us through his creation, teaching us through incidents, teaching us through situations. So we only pray to him, kindly enable me to absorb the teachings you give silently. Let me not overlook anything. Nobody is irrelevant, nobody is unimportant, nobody is insignificant. I keep on hammering, so that I will not treat anything bad. I may not be able to do what all others say from the worldly standpoint, but that doesn't mean that everybody should follow what I say. So many incidents we learn by which, we try to accommodate the other party's views also and then try to correct ourselves. Tomorrow we will share one incident today is already 4:35. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om. All of them, 3 people. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Why are you in this horizontal?
Mobile.
Hari Om.
On the mobile, it is a different.
Now it is all right.
Yes.
Otherwise, we thought, you are hanging. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om to everybody, plural.